Hello and welcome to Education at SSBJ online video tutorial. We were into chapter Materials, Metals and Non-Metals of class 8th, right? And we have almost completed this chapter, and therefore it's the time to just recall all information regarding this chapter in a way where we can call it again and again for the better retention, right? So a kind of map we have to create now in this video tutorial, and that map you can call it as a mind map, and mind map will help us to concise all the facts and figures at one place. And when you read that small, a page where you have written all those information, that is equivalent to revising the entire chapter. Or else going across all those pages of the chapter, we may sometimes get confused. So here we go. Let me take a white paper, the ruled paper in fact, and I would urge you to do in your own way. This is not the only type you can do, okay? For every chapter you have to do a mind map, and that will help you to remember and reproduce it as far as exams are concerned. So our now objective is to make a mind map of the chapter Materials, Metals and Non-Metals. Now as far as materials are concerned, we can divide it, we have studied it into actually 3, but as far as our chapter is concerned for class 8 CBSE, it is only 2 now, metals and non-metals. Other than that we have metalloids, okay? Almost 90% or more than that are metals among the elements. Now what else we have studied among metals and non-metals? First we have studied physical properties. Now the moment physical property comes, recall that sentence which I have told you. Man called his lucky dog Sony. Simply. And you can end that again with M. And what is that M stands for then? Malleable. Right? So we can recall metals are malleable. Now what is that malleability mean? Ability to convert them into sheets. Small thin sheets. We can beat metals and convert into sheets. If you want, you can write in bracket. Right? And C for conductors of heat and electricity. They are good conductors of heat and electricity. Right? Next one is H stands for they are very hard. Metals are hard. And L stands for luster, right? And metals are lustrous, right? Shining. Metals are ductile. Property is called ductility, right? And what is that ductility? Ability to draw into wires, thin wires like a copper wire, wires from gold, like that. And what is that S stands for? First S stands for, state. In which state metals are available? Solids, right? And second S stands for, what? Can you tell me? Sonorous nature. Metals are sonorous. And what do you mean by sonorous? Property of metals, ringing. When you beat on them, they give a ring sound. And the next is M again. High melting point and boiling point. Once you remember these properties of metal, it's very easy to recall the physical properties of non-metals. We'll go one by one. Since metals are malleable, they are non-malleable. These are good conductor, not so good conductor, or bad conductors, right? These are very hard, they are not so hard. These are lustrous, shining, these are not lustrous. Ductile, non-ductile. Metals are available, most of the metals are available in solid form, and here in all 3 forms, solid, liquid and gases. and metals are sonorous and non-metals are not giving any ring sound when they are beaten, so they are non-sonorous and they have very low melting and boiling point. So it becomes very easy. Okay. Now this piece of paper, if you can keep it on your table and all, every now and then you recall. Okay. Look at it, recall. First letters you again reproduce it. It is very easy for you to retain in your mind. Okay. Now coming back to physical properties, right? See how simple it becomes to recall the entire chapter. As far as now, you can even write the the meaning of what do you mean by sonorous, bell sound. What do you mean by ductile? Can be drawn into wires. What do you mean by lustrous? Is a shining ability. All those things you can write, and many more you can write. These are not fixed rules which you can do. Right? If you search in the net, you will get many type of mind maps available. So finally, it is left to you how you can better remember the things. And these things are mainly for the point of examination, right? To score more marks. But here, once you write the physical properties, there are exceptions. Like, all metals are hard, but some metals are not hard. Sodium and potassium. So sometimes these questions may come. So write also these are the exceptions as far as lustrous is concerned. Luster is concerned. Sodium is not lustrous, potassium is not lustrous, and some are not ductile. Again, sodium and potassium, right? And all are not solids. You know that gallium and mercury are not solids. So these things and all you can write, right? Next one is chemical properties. Simple. And what did we study about the chemical properties? Reaction of metals with 4 substances. They are oxygen, water, acid and base, right? And very simple. Now we'll go for oxygen. Metals combine with oxygen, metal oxide. Simple. Magnesium combines with oxygen, magnesium oxide. Iron, iron oxide. All metals like that. Next, metal with water, remember, hydrogen and hydroxide. Okay. Next, metal with acid. Okay. Again hydrogen but salt. Last one, metal with base, again hydrogen and salt. Very simple. Now once you come to know, go for the non-metals. It's so simple. Non-metal and oxygen gives non-metal oxides, But what is the difference? Metal oxide and non-metal oxides. Metal oxides are acidic and non-metal oxides are basic in nature. Okay. Non-metal oxides, metal oxides convert, blue litmus to red. And metal oxides. And non-metal oxide converts red litmus to blue when they are added to water. Okay. Again, recall that. Next one. Metal plus water, hydrogen plus hydroxide. Non-metal plus water, no reaction at all. So, point to be noted. Next, with acid, generally don't react. But there are few exceptions which are beyond the scope of your syllabus. And last one is, some metals react with base. Base means hydroxides, base to form salt and hydrogen gas. Some. Okay. So these are not in details for you. Equations are not there for you. However, you can recall some of the equations which are required. They may ask what happens. Write an equation for, magnesium when burnt with oxygen, what happens? You can write magnesium plus oxygen, magnesium oxides. So what do you mean by rust? Right? How the iron reacts with oxygen when added to water. So you can write all these things. Other than that, you can write even the uses there, And purposely I have not told any of the uses in detail here because metals, where all we have used. There's no way we can, we cannot write answer for these questions. In ornaments, in constructions, in utensils, thermometers, and many more. Same way, non-metals, oxygen, we require for breathing. Right? And carbon, we are made of carbon. Fabrication requires non-metals. Crackers we made out of non-metals. So there are many uses, right? So this is how you have to make in your own way. This is not hard and fast rule. You have to write like this only in your own way. Search in the net in Google mind map, okay, and you will find boys have done colorfully on a card sheet. So make it as a habit to make every chapter into a mind map, so that it will be very helpful to you to remember and good for scoring more marks in examinations, right? Recall, again you recall, and then recall, and more of recalling of information will retain those information in your mind. Thank you. Please refer a previous video tutorial. We had completed few multiple choice questions. We'll continue with few more here in this video tutorial. The table compares the property of four metals, which material is a metal. Okay. So question is which material is a metal. So iron, glass, plastic and wood are there. Right? Iron is malleable, ductile. What is malleable? We can convert that into sheet. Ductile, we can convert that into wires. And sonorous, it gives a ringing sound and it conducts electricity. So iron is a metal, right? So it's very simple. Iron is a metal. So these questions are such that they will make you to again recall the properties of metal, which will help us in case of examination. Right? The ninth question. Which substance can be drawn into wires? Again, what is that property called? Ductility. As I said, again and again they ask and check whether you know the properties of metals properly. And which are the metals? Okay, cardboard is not a metal, paper is not a metal, plastic is not a metal. So the copper can be drawn into wires, and the answer should be a copper. And we'll go for the last question here. And we have many collections of many questions here in this. So we'll take up those questions next. 10 is enough in this tutorial. A student classifies chromium. You know, look at this. Chromium is a metal, right? Is a metal, remember. As ductile, but not carbon. Okay? Carbon, you know, it's a non-metal. So what student classifies is chromium is ductile, and what do you mean by ductile? Ductility, okay, is a property by which we can convert metal into wires, right? So the choice should be chromium can be drawn into thin wires but carbon cannot. Right? Appears to be correct, but let us read remaining one. Chromium can be made into thin sheets, but carbon cannot. Okay? Chromium can be beaten to make sound, but carbon cannot. And chromium can be plated over other metals, but carbon cannot. In this, you may feel that most of the things are correct, but which is more appropriate to this answer is chromium can be drawn into thin wires, but carbon you cannot draw into thin wires. Okay, so that has to be the correct answer. We will see what's the answer. Yes, correct answer is option A. Which of the following can be beaten into thin sheets? Okay, beaten into thin sheets. And you know metals can be beaten into thin sheets. And which of these is metal? Definitely it is zinc. Right? And 12th question now. Which of the following can be beaten into sheets? Zinc. Right. Which of the following statement is correct? All metals are ductile. Appears to be correct. All non-metals are ductile. No. What do you mean by ductility? Ductility means ability to draw into wires. You can draw wires out of the metal. So all metals are ductile is okay. Generally metals are ductile. So look at this option. This is the option and this is the option.
Okay, which one of these two is correct? Generally metals are ductile. Not all metals are ductile. Sodium is not ductile. So we have to opt for generally metals are ductile. Right? Now we'll go for 13th question, which is a fill in the blanks. Right? Phosphorus is very reactive non-metal. Remember this, very reactive. As far as non-metal is concerned, it's reactive. Okay? Metals are conductors of heat and electricity. Simple. Iron is more reactive than copper. Right? Iron is more reactive than copper. Next, metal react with acid to produce which gas? Hydrogen gas. H2. Hydrogen gas. Right? So these are the answers. We'll go for the next question. Mark T. A true and false question it is. Okay. Generally non-metals react with acids. No. Generally. No. You may find some non-metals reacting, but generally non-metals react with acid is a false one. Sodium is very reactive metal, right? It's true. Okay? So let me write here, this is true. Okay? And coal can be drawn into wires. Coal, you have studied, coal is a carbon, and carbon is a non-metal. We cannot draw non-metal into wires. They are not ductile. So these are the answers. Okay?